video.
Oh, yeah.
You have to come back again and see us soon, all right? Well, they even took a jingle, and they tagged the jingle on the radio announcer, Ron Lundy. And he played your song. Do you know that? Ron Lundy. Do Ron Lundy.
No, I know nothing.
Do Ron Lundy. See that? They stripped it. They patched your piece. Do Ron Lundy.
Wow, that's so cool.
You're on the air. You're on the air. We're on the air. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is September. Season number 6. Whistle the reunion. It's coming up. It's a Jim Petrecca production. Don't forget that. Lala Brooks is here. Everybody's here today. Look at the man with the hat and the derby and all the great stuff here. The greatest music of all time. The great producers. The great friends here. It's always great to have a live audience. It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
We had a whole orchestra here an hour ago from Carnegie Hall.
I wish I could use all those pieces, right?
Yeah. Wonder what question I should ask you. The first question. What do you think I should ask you?
What do you think? Whatever comes off the top of your head.
Okay. How many years have you been married?
Oh my gosh, this is 13.
You're 13.
Yeah.
What kept you going for all these years, the perseverance, and the kind of drive that you have to still make these today after how many years? 50 years, that's a question. What kept you that energy level up? That means we're supposed to go live when the song ends, so they say, or we could always segue the song, but since we're here with Lala Brooks in the studio live, my name is Teddy Smith. I'm proud to be part of your great Monday night experience, UN week here, Pope's in town, the President's joining us in town. The UN's kind of busy, a lot of traffic, and Lala Brooks is great. She's great. She's a wonderful performer, lead singer of the group The Crystals, and it's such a great, wonderful thing that you came down here tonight to spend some time with Teddy Smith and Jim Petrecca Productions, and Jim Petrecca, who's doing this whole thing and put this all together with your great producer over here and the great people in the background, which we'll bring you in later, of course, sir. So what's kept you going all of these years in this industry? You've been in the industry for about 50 or so years.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And that's quite to be admired, because I'm sure a lot of people don't last more than a few months or a few years in this business.
That's true.
What has kept the drive or the perseverance or the energy of Lala Brooks going for all of these years? Tell us one or two things.
I think that I'm grounded, like I always say. I'm not, I'm not a show business person, in every moment of my life. So I think that's very important, to know when you're performing, you're on stage, and when you're not performing, you're off stage. And to keep that balance, that's what keeps me going, because I'm a real person when I'm off stage. I'm not a cook, I'm a mom or a grandma, and things like that. So I think that's what keeps me grounded.
How do you keep that balance? What is one great tip or advice that you would give performers, or a lawyer, or a teacher, or a singer, or anybody out there that's listening to this show tonight? What's kept you having this great balance in your life for all these great years?
I think, first of all, I'm very spiritual. I put the Creator first, and second of all, I know that people may not believe it. It's just a job, like you say, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, and if a doctor has to know when he's off and with his family. He's not a doctor, and he must not have. They say doctors have sometimes the God complex. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So I think that any field that you're in, or any profession, like me as an artist or an actress, you have to know when the time and the place is to leave that stage and be a normal person. And that's what I am, and that's what I do.
And growing up as a teenager, you started in this industry when you were about 13.
Yeah, I did.
Who did you admire as a singer or anyone in this show business industry, whether it's from a Broadway show, cabaret, R&B, rock and roll? Who did you admire growing up?
You know, it's funny. I was very young. I was about 12. I admired Brenda Lee. I liked that country sound. I thought she was very strong, and I also admired a woman that's, you know, people haven't heard of her as much. Her name was Baby Washington. I loved the way Baby Washington sang, and I loved her technique. I loved the way she sang from such a deep place. And I loved, as I said, Brenda Lee. She had a deep, strong sound and a sure sound.
What made Baby Washington so special in your mind or in your vision of her?
I think because she had such a sincere tone in her voice, Baby Washington. I don't think she was recognized as she should have been, you know, but there was such a spiritual sincerity in her voice when she sang. It had a lot of gospel, which I came from gospel, and the way she pronounced, you know, the way she sang all the lyrics were very, very beautiful.
The Do Run, 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 I've been listening to for many years, playing it as a disc jockey on many radio stations around the United States. You lead singer on this song.
Definitely.
Tell us everything that you want our audience should know about what made this song such a great hit, and also the other people involved making that a great hit with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I think what makes it a great hit, it's like a gimmick song, and it was you know, recorded by me and Jack Neat, who was Elliot Greenwich, Jeff Barry and Elliot Greenwich wrote the song, and you know, Phil naturally Phil's on there as producer too, but they wrote the song, Jeff Barry and Elliot Greenwich, and Phil just chose me to do such a great hit, you know, and I'm so happy, and I could not be more blessed to have done the original vocals on that song.
When's the first time you had the opportunity of meeting Phil Spector?
I met Phil when I was about 13. Phil was recording the Crystals, and see, people don't realize that the Crystals started Phil Spector, and if it wasn't for the Crystals, there would not be Phil Spector. And that's what people don't understand. They don't do their research into history. They look at Darlene Love, they look at the Ronettes, and they look at the Righteous Brothers. These were not the first artists to have done anything with Phil. They came after. So when I first saw Phil, I was a teenager, 13. Barbara was the lead singer for the group at the time. She sang There's No Other Like My Baby and Uptown. Those were the first hits for the Crystals. And on the flip side, which did well, sort of, was Hey Maybe Baby, which Patsy Wright did that song. So I think a lot of people are, you know, don't have the history of the songs that the Crystals did, and they had this movie out called 20 Feet from Stardom, which was complete mess up when it came to the Crystals. You know, it made us look like we were a Nilly Vanilli group, you know, which was so ridiculous. So, and if they start the movie off, they started it off with the Do Run Run, with this 20 Feet from Stardom. This was to make the people think that Darlene Love did all the Crystals things. But if they were so smart enough, they'd look at the movie, and she said she started when she was 40. Now, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to understand that if Darlene Love started when she was 40, the Crystals started when she was 13. How did she come in after 40 years when we started when we was 13? I was 13, Dee Dee was 15, Barbara and Mary and Patsy were 18 years old. You know, the only thing that Phil did wrong was he put Darlene Love under He's a Rebel and He Says You're the Boy I Love, and which was wrong, and we knew nothing about that. And what sort of drives me crazy is that when people see me lip-syncing He's a Rebel, I had no choice. I was only 14 or 15 years old. When Phil released that song, we were a formed professional group. He went to California, left us from New York, recording us, and put this song, He's a Rebel, underneath the Crystal name. And we knew nothing about it. We were on the road traveling to a gig, and we hear, he's a rebel and he'll never, never be any good. We were saying, what the hell is this? When the man said number one. We were devastated that he would have the audacity. We were out already. We were famous. We were traveling all over the world, and this hurt us. You know,
Does it still bother you at all today about that?
It doesn't bother me. I think what bothers me is that Darlene Love continues saying that, no, now she's cleaning it up. She's admitting that I'm on the lead of the Do Run Run, which for 25 or 30 years, when I left the business to raise my children and live in Europe, and she did Leader of the Pack on Broadway, and the main songs were River Deep, Mountain High, and the Do Run Run. Elliot Greenwich called her to do this Broadway show, which was one of the songs, the Do Run Run, was one of the lead songs in River Deep, Mountain High. She took that song over as if it belonged to her because she was smart enough to know that if Phil put her on He's a Rebel under the Crystal name, and He's Sure the Boy I Love, she was going to sneak the Do Run Run in there, and she claimed it. And for these years I've been back from Europe, since 1997 I came back, I've been fighting for the truth. Now she says the truth, that she's not on the lead. But what she does that's smart is that when she does an article, she'll tell the article person or the PR or whoever's writing the article, oh, I still do Run Run. I still do Run Run because it's been so many years I've done it. It's like a thing. But this is still a sway the people to think that it belongs to her. In fact, Phil said to Rochelle, which is his wife, she's not even on the background. She was out of town. But because she couldn't say now she's done the lead on it, because the truth is coming out, now she says she did the background, which is a total lie. Even though I loved her, I love her still, her voice. But what's so crazy, Paul Schaefer used to come to me all the time, and I love Paul. He used to come to me all the time, Lala, I don't know why Darlene keeps saying she did the Do Run Run. Why is she telling everybody that? It's a lie. But if she has people behind her that don't want to tell the truth, like Little Stevie, Bruce Springsteen, I love him, but he copied Then He Kissed Me, and that came from me, because I'm 15 years old when I did Then He Kissed Me.
Did that bother you at all?
No, it doesn't bother me. I'm honored by Bruce Springsteen. I think I love him as an artist, but he should be able to not stand behind a lie, you know, in certain things that Darlene has done. In fact, Bruce Springsteen copied Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Who? For a 15-year-old. Me. Okay? Little boy, you probably don't know it. I did that song when I was 15 with Phil Spector. Who copied that but Little Stevie? So why give Darlene credit for the things that you copied me from? And I'm ready to tell the truth, even though I love Darlene to death. I love her voice, but she's a liar, and I don't mind saying it.
And, of course, Paul Schaefer you've known for a long time.
I love Paul, and Paul is honest.
And I've seen you, of course, millions of people, in addition to me, seeing you on David Letterman. And, of course, I truly miss him. I'm sure you do.
I do. Paul is a sweetheart. David Letterman was very nice, too.
Very nice to you,
Very peaceful.
Very humble, right?
And very humble. But Paul is a doll. Paul is fair. He wanted the truth out. He wanted everybody to know that I did the original to Do Run Run, and Then He Kissed Me.
When's the first time you met Paul Schaefer?
Oh, my God. Some years back, I was playing the cutting room, and Paul was honored to come and play with me at the cutting room. He said, you mean Lala's going to be there? You know, I'd just come back from Europe a few years before, and he says, I'd love to play the Do Run Run and Then He Kissed Me with her. Those were one of my favorite songs. And he came down to the cutting room, and I've known him ever since then. He is a doll baby. He really is a sweetheart.
What do you miss about David Letterman being off the air right now?
I think I just miss, you know, all the artists that was on the show. It's like a part of the fabric. He's just part of our lives, you know, and it's just like anything. It's just like Joe Franklin. I love Joe Franklin so much. I did about two radio shows with Joe, and when I found out that he died not too long ago, I was devastated. It was like history leaving us. And that's the same thing with Joe Franklin, and that's the same thing with David Letterman.
Joe Franklin was such a nice man, right?
Oh, my God, he was so sweet.
So kind, right?
So kind.
Same with David Letterman.
David Letterman is very kind. He's very gentle and very humble. You could tell he doesn't, speak with you like Paul Schaefer, or joke with you like Paul Schaefer, but you can feel the genuine kindness in him.
Well, before we play What's Mine is Yours, which you're going to talk about, what did you enjoy most about being on David Letterman's show? I know there's probably several things. Of course, you were able to sing out there for all of the world. I mean, not only the world, but everybody who watches David Letterman, but more importantly, there must be something else to it.
I think that it took me a long time to fight for the position I'm in today, and I'm blessed, I must say. But I think the highlight of being on a David Letterman show was that I'm able to go down in history and say that at the end of the day, when he was getting ready to retire, they'll have a footage on Lala Brooks, which I so deserve. The Crystals also, they deserve to have a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame eventually, is because, as I said, the Crystals were the first pioneers. And if anybody deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, are the Crystals.
Some great history here, isn't
great
there?
History.
A lot.
Great history.
A lot of books here.
Yeah, yeah.
What's Mine is Yours we're going to play right now. Before we play it, tell our great audience about this particular song and what people should know most about this song that you recorded.
Well, about that song, What's Mine is Yours, I did everything live in a little studio, very small studio, very humble studio. Real too humble for me, but anyway. But I did that, and I used the voice. That was my voice, a baby voice, a younger voice. See, I can do that. I'm not, even though I sing gospel, I don't have that heavy voice where I can't change.
Maybe you could sing a cappella for us sometime right here live in the studio. Would you like to do that?
Oh, sure, sure.
We love it. Maybe if you want to do it for part of this hour. No, we can. I'm sure Jim could bring you back in a few weeks and we could do it again.
Oh,
but
sure.
You can sing live. We like that live touch here that you don't get on the radio these days. You get voice track radio from another state.
So
but we do it live here, and this is what's fun. But getting back to your song, because we want to play some of your music here this hour. Anything else you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I did that for Norton Records, and I have to be honest with you. The instrumentation, my voice deserved a little bit bigger sound, but that's okay because I love the song. But in that record, All of Nothing that I did for Norton Records, I put on What's Mine is Yours. I used the voice that I would use with Phil. So I was able to do that. I was able to, on this album, I was able to sound like that woman, and then I was able to sound like when I sang Little Boy. So why I like What's Mine is Yours, because I just used the little, the baby sound. But what's funny is that when I heard it back, people won't realize, but I cracked a little bit, just on one of the notes. And when I listened back to it after I did it live, I said, wait a minute, let me do that note over again because I cracked a little. And then I said, you know what? I'm not doing it over again. I want that crack to be in there so they can hear that it's done live and it's not that Pro Tool. It's nothing that's pulling me up. It's me in a dinky studio. And I don't mind being real.
Well, let's do it real right here live.